disability section of the IEP. And I know last year we had those neat little handouts that you could just copy and paste. And we've gotten new guidance from the state that that section needs to be individualized also. So we're going to talk today about what does need to be in there. And you have a tool that you've been given to help you construct that and plan your IEPs. Okay. So what is now required? The state wants two basic pieces of information included in the impact statement or statements. The two questions you need to be answering are, what are the characteristics of this particular student's disability? And what impact do those characteristics have on this particular student's educational performance? So we can't just give the impact, we have to give the characteristics of the disability and then how those characteristics impact their education. So, what we talked about this morning on summarizing the psychological and finding out that key information related to each disability will help you know what characteristics for that particular child apply. So you can refer back to your summary of the site to find the characteristics that go with that disability for that child. And then you have a little cheat sheet too. So in your pink folder, find the characteristics of disability for the intellectual disability. And let's just see how this would work using your little tool, your impact tool.
What's going to be on this?
Intellectual.
Thank you.
And you did say
That
you're
is
gonna
this.
send us
Your
that
intellectual disability impact tool looks like this.
It'll be on the website.
It's going to be on the website too. Corrected. With all the typos gone, hopefully.
I know it's from you.
Okay. Although I found a typo on Stacy's student yesterday, so
So what will this be called? It won't be in the manual. Will it be in the special ed manual?
it'll probably be in a separate, document or a separate link or something that says impact tools.
Impact.
Okay. So on your intellectual disability, notice that you have 5 columns. Okay? The first one is just the name of the disability. Then you have the characteristics of that disability. Then you have various ways those characteristics might impact a student's educational performance. Then you also, as an added bonus, you have different instructional strategies you might use with that student and different supports that might be needed for that particular student based on their characteristics and impact. So hopefully it helps the teachers tie it all together on the IEP so that the impact, the needs, the supports, and the services make sense and tie together. Okay, so let's look at our example for our MO students' impact. Okay, I've got Adam is diagnosed with a moderate intellectual disability characterized by delays in cognitive, academic, and adaptive behavior skills. You see where I got that off my little cheat sheet, characteristics column. And then, in Adam's case, I said he takes longer to learn new concepts or skills in school. He has trouble with understanding abstract concepts or making inferences. He also has difficulty transferring a skill he has learned from one setting to another, or even from one activity to a different activity. Moreover, he has trouble with skills typical peers learn through incidental learning. Adam lacks age-appropriate daily living and communication skills. So what I did was look on the impact and find the ones that apply to Adam, that are true for him, and word that so that it's personalized. Okay? Now I also put he's functioning on an early elementary grade level, and his involvement in the general ed curriculum is at an access or entry level at this time. Progress is measured in small increments, and he requires frequent review on concepts. So that is my impact statement for Adam. Okay? Now let's go further with it. Here's example 2. Look at your EBD 1. This is going to be where on your sample IEPs. Again, I have to have the characteristics and the impact those characteristics have at school. Okay? So I've got B has been diagnosed with an EBD characterized by thoughts and feelings that are inconsistent with actual events, situations, or interactions. So that's my characteristic. In the school setting, she's showing external behavior problems, blah, blah, blah. Okay? I'm not gonna read the whole thing for you. And then because of time away from instruction as a result of discipline issues, you know, she's gotten behind academically. So that would be my impact statement. She's functioning more than one grade level below her present grade placement. Behavior problems also impact the learning of others in the classroom due to the disruptive nature and frequency of the behavior. So I've got my characteristic and the impact that has at school. Okay? Let's look at one more example. And I'll keep these out because we're going to refer back to them in just a minute. So far we've used intellectual disability and EBD. Now we're going to look at an SLD example. So find your SLD handout. Okay? This is Stacy's student on your sample IEP on the website. Stacy has been diagnosed with a specific learning disability based on assessment results, blah, blah, blah. She shows processing deficits evident in auditory discrimination, organization, and visual motor integration. So on the LD1, she has characteristics in 3 different processing areas. She's got auditory discrimination, organization, and visual motor. And each one of those has a section on here. So you can look and find the one that relates to auditory discrimination, or find the one that relates to visual motor integration. To look and see how that would impact her in the classroom. But you're not gonna list and copy every one of these. Only the ones that actually she is showing at school that are true for her. These are just examples of how that might look. And Lord help us, I hope they all don't apply for every kid. You know,
Right.
of course, it would be job security. But, most kids are not gonna display every one of these characteristics, but some of them. Okay, so, example 4, speech language. Adam's diagnosed with a speech language disorder characterized by a moderate to severe language impairment. Now, I'm not a speech pathologist, and I don't claim to be, so I didn't know what to put about morphology and phonology and all that stuff. I'll let the SLPs make their own example about that. But just, this is how it might look with them adding what exact characteristics that would be for Adam. Okay? I don't even know what phonology and morphology, what the difference is on those, but the SLPs will know what to put. Okay, so they'll put the characteristics and, then the impact at school. Okay, now, so, you're gonna use impact tools that you've been provided, and you can get ideas for specialized instructional needs, classroom supports or accommodations, and this will also help you in writing your rationale.
Yay.
So you're getting bang for your buck on this. Okay. So, on my impact, here's an example. I said he has difficulty transferring a skill he has learned from one setting to another, or even from one activity to a different activity, and this is on the intellectual disability one. So, under needs, I've got, because he has trouble transferring skills, he needs extra practice in additional settings and in alternative formats. So do you see how those two tie together? Here's the impact, here's the strategy he needs to overcome that impact, okay? And my needs, because he has trouble transferring, he needs extra practice on supports. I've also listed extra practice in additional settings, okay? It ties together. In my needs, I said he needs extra practice in additional settings to transfer learning. So the services he's getting are community-based education. And my rationale is because he requires specialized instruction in a variety of community settings in order to transfer learning. So that helps me rationalize why he's getting that service. It all ties together based on the characteristic of the disability and the impact it has at school. And of course, your goals would tie in too. But that's a whole nother presentation. Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, this time we're looking at the EBD one, if you want to sort of follow along on that. On the impact, I said B is showing external behavior problems such as refusal to comply with adults, yelling, throwing objects, leaving her assigned area. So in the needs, I said she needs teaching alternative appropriate behaviors to replace inappropriate behaviors. So it ties together. The impact of the inappropriate, the needs, or she needs alternative behaviors. The needs also tie in with the supports. She has a behavior intervention plan that tie in with her needs. And it also helps with my rationale about why she needs a separate class for social skills. because she requires specialized instruction to learn those alternative behaviors. Do you see how it ties together? Okay, we're gonna do one more example. This time we're looking at the SLD one. And the visual motor integration is on page 13 of the SLD one. So on the impact, I said, visual motor difficulties are still evident in her written work, especially when she gets in a hurry to finish something. Her handwriting becomes almost illegible. So that's the impact. Then under needs, I said giving her extra time to complete her classwork or test has been helpful. Okay? Giving her extra time was a need. So under supports, I gave her extended time on her tests and on classwork and homework, or fun work, is that, are they still doing that, or is it fun work? Thank goodness. Okay. Under needs, I said she needs to develop more independent strategies for her organization, for keeping up with her assignments and deadlines. So on the rationale for study skills, she requires specialized and direct instruction on independent organization and time management skills. It ties together, why am I providing that service? Because there's a need for that service. Okay. Now there's one caveat, there always is a caveat in special ed. Sometimes a kid will display a behavior at school that has nothing whatsoever to do with their disability. And it's not an impact of that disability, it's just a behavior they're displaying. And on my example, the kid is sleeping in class. Well, if you, for B, and she's EDD, if you look on EDD, sleeping in class is not listed as an impact of that disability. Now, that does not mean you do not address that problem. You do. But it would not be an impact of the disability that you're addressing. It would be a behavior that's interfering with her learning. And when you do your functional behavior assessment, you may find out she's sleeping in class because she's staying up half the night playing video games, you know, or whatever. I just try to make a simple example for you. But every behavior a kid displays at school may not be related to their disability at all. So you need to have a clear understanding of what their true disability is, what the characteristics are related to that disability and the impact of that, so you can figure out why they're doing some of the things they do. Is it their disability, or is it something else that I need to address? Either way, if it's impacting their education, we have to address it, but the way we go about addressing it may be very different. If it's a true disability, we have to accommodate that and maybe teach strategies. But if it's just a situational thing, maybe we can enlist help to correct that situation or correct the environment. Okay? And that's all I had about impact. But what I would like you to do is look over these, see if you have any questions related to the tools, and go forth and use it.
Thank you.